We are stuck inside the box. Stuck inside this box. What do I mean by that? Well, you all know the expression outside the box thinking, right? I think as artists, we like to think that we are outside the box thinkers. Of course we are, right? We don't think the way most normal people think. We think more creatively. We do. All right, let's just say it. Right? There's nobody else here. We could say it. We do. The rest of them suck and we're amazing. Okay, so that's just that. But outside the box thinking, that expression, that's really comparing you to normal people, to other people. Like, I'm an outside the box thinker. Compared to the way most people think, I think more creatively. However, we create our own boxes. We do. You have yours, I have mine. And they could be different sizes. They could have different borders, different shapes. Doesn't matter. These aren't literal boxes, okay? What they are little borders of what we are allowed to think based on our own programming. We have beliefs, things that we have picked up in life over time that have made us think like, oh, when this happens, I notice that this thing then happens. If this thing were to happen in the world, then, or my life, then the result would be this thing, you know, and then we assign whether that's good or that's bad. I like that. I don't like that. And we put these programs in our heads. I do it to me and you do it to you. And we can't help it. You know, you can't help it. It's just part of being a human being. So what happens is we sometimes, I've noticed, right, that we get these I wanted to say intuition and intuitive at the same time, and I said intuition. We get these intuitive little sparks of genius. We get these things that make us go like, whoa, that's a great idea. Oh man, I love that idea. I want to do that. I want to work on that. I want to be like that. I want to act like that. And we think these things, and I call them glimpses, right? You get these glimpses of genius, these little messages from your soul that are just like boop, there it is, right? You just like, whoa, what was that? And you want to do that. You want to be that. And you're just like, yes! You know? And you just want to get right to it. And you're just like, I know exactly what that is. And I'm going to go right to it. And you just start working on it. And then you know, your brain starts working about like how I can make that work. And then lo and behold, what happens? All your little programming kicks in, and it's all like, oh, let's go. Got to get to work. We got some new things we want to work on. Got to make sure that we don't go outside this wall. Don't go on that field. Don't go out there. Don't go up here. Don't go down there. You got all these little beliefs that are like little blockades. Like, oh, you want to do that thing? That sounds amazing, but you can't go past here. Because when you were 5 years old, you learned this, or when you were a kid, you learned that, or when you were in college, or when you got married, or whatever. You know, something happened in your life, and then you made a little belief, and you don't let yourself go past that anymore. So you get this intuition. The intuition does not have any borders, has no parameters, has no protocol, has no anything. Everything is possible with you. These intuition thoughts. I gotta pick one. It's either intuitive or intuition. I gotta pick one and stick with it. I'm gonna just say intuition, okay? When you get this intuition, it's just, there is no blockage, but you put it there and you create it. So now you're trying to work on this thing and you're hitting walls all the time. And you're like, this sucks. You know, what? I don't understand this. And it feels like failure, you know? So I've got 3 things for you today. By the way, time out, all right? By the way, I'm sorry the boiler is on. My daughter's home from college. Our schedules are all mixed up. We don't know what we're doing yet. I haven't done lives in a while, so now my family's like, are you doing that again? Okay, so the boiler had to be on for a little while. So if it's loud right now, I'm sorry. Okay, time in. Number 1. It's not failure. This is not a failure. When you get this intuition and you start acting on it and you hit and you run into your belief system that's blocking you, it feels like failure. It feels like a major setback. It feels like, man, I was so sure that that was the way to go. But then you hit your belief and you can't go past it. It's not failure. What it is it's an indicator. That's how you learn that we have a false belief in play. And our job at that point is to go like, oh, I had this intuition. clearly that's the correct thing because intuition is your soul talking to you. That's not wrong. That's never wrong. Never, ever wrong. But if you hit a wall and you're just like, I can't get past this wall, I can't get past this block, that's the thing that's wrong. But what we do is we hit that thing and go, oh, I suck. Right? It's like, oh, I'm just a loser. I can't get anything right. No, it went off. It is so loud. I always have to have something that's loud and annoying for me. So what does it mean? It means that it's an indicator of false belief, and it's our job then to do number 2. Start questioning everything. Our job is to question things. We're supposed to be like, okay, so why was my intuition awesome if acting it out sucked? You know, I had this great idea. I had this glimpse of genius. I started working on it, and it didn't work out. Why? Because we went too fast or we hit a wall, right? It's like all of these things. So here are the questions you want to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself, like, what is it that I'm telling myself automatically? If I start down this path now and I want to work on this thing or, you know, become this thing, and I start to analogize it to things. I start to say, okay, well, if I do that, then it's going to mean that I can't do this thing. So there's a belief, right? If I work on this thing, that means I can't do this thing. If I become this, then I can't be this anymore, right? And we have these beliefs, these limiting beliefs. I am limited. I am limited. If I want to be over here, I can't be over here. So we create these parameters for ourselves where now we're limited. And so ask yourself, you know, what does that mean? If I'm saying to myself that I'm gonna be more specific, because being general like this, I feel like I'm not really saying much. Let me try to say something a little bit more specific. So I had this. What the hell were we just talking about today? Oh man, it just flew right out of my head. I had a specific example that I did not write down, and it just flew right out of my head. I just have like a lot of things going on. So the other day, you know, I said like I'm not doing Daily Fuel anymore because I want to do this YouTube thing. So I had this limiting belief that's like, I want to create this YouTube thing. Well, if I do this YouTube thing, I don't have time to do this other thing. And then I started working on the YouTube thing, and I'm just realizing to myself, well, first of all, I have a lot of limiting beliefs that are telling me it has to be like this, and it has to be done this way, and it has to be done on this schedule. And I'm just like, why do I think these things? Why am I creating it this way? This isn't even the thing that I want to create. I have this habit of getting this glimpse of something amazing that I want to create. And then when I start working on it, I turn it into something that wasn't the glimpse. Except that I feel like I'm still working on it. So I'm happy for a little while until all of a sudden I realize I put my arms up here. I'm like, right? I'm like, that's weird. Like, why did I create it this way? Why did I think that if I do this, then I can't do this? Why, if I'm doing YouTube, can I not do Daily Fuel? Why, if I'm doing YouTube, can I not be doing this with the group? Why, if I want to make money this way, does that mean that I can't work on this thing? It's like I have these these are mine, okay? We all have our own, but it's like, so as soon as I say I want to do this thing, in my mind, the belief that I have is, well, if you want to do this thing, you can no longer do this thing. And that's the belief. So yours might be different. Yours might not be a this or that, but yours might be a, if I... well, I don't know what yours is. I'm spending so much time analyzing mine. I have no idea what yours is. Figure it out. But figure it out is the point of this. Ask yourself, like, why do I believe this? What is it that I believe? Now that I'm doing this thing, if I've hit a wall, why did I hit the wall? What was it that I believed that made me hit a wall? Because these beliefs are contradictory. They don't really go together. They're kind of silly when you start pointing them out. Wow, I really thought that if I did this, I couldn't do that too. That'd be like, oh, I have a daughter and I love her, and and look at that. A couple years later, we had a son. Well, now that I have a son, I can't love my daughter anymore. I can't do both. That was never a belief that I had. The love just grew. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh my God, look at this. I have the capacity to love both of them the same amount. I couldn't imagine that was possible. But if I had some limiting belief that told me, like, well, you got to pick one to love, you know, And that's what I do with business stuff. You got to pick one to do. You got to pick this thing or that thing. You know, my friend Landon says all the time, it's this or that and forever. You know, you got to pick one and make sure you get it right because it's forever. And that's what it feels like. So number 3 is the thing that I can't do. Is slow down. We just got to slow down a little bit. Your intuition is never wrong. But the thing is that if you're anything like me, when I get this intuition thought, this glimpse of something amazing I want to work on, I mistake that for the entire thing. It's like I try to say like, wow, that was amazing. What did that look like? And I try to envision the whole thing from now to like 20 years from now. And really what intuition is it's just the next step. It's just the, hey, why don't you do this? You know, my intuition was just like, hey, why don't you do something with YouTube now? And I took it to be like, I have to do something with YouTube, and that means I can't, all this other crap, garbage. You know, and it's like, why do you do that? Why do you do that? I ask myself, you know? So it's not the whole path. Intuition is not the whole path. It's the next step. We have to take the next step and then wait a minute and go, what's the next intuition? What is the next intuitive thought that I have? Where is my next step going to be? It's a one step at a time process. And for somebody like me, that is really freaking annoying because I don't like one step at a time. I like full speed ahead. So I'm learning how to go one step at a time. So anyway, that's what I got for you today. Let's see what you guys have to say about that. I see some comments here. So Danielle says, hello. I'm gonna take a breath. I'm out of practice, so I haven't done this in a little while, and I didn't breathe well during that. There's a flow to Daily Fuel. There's a flow to it. I get into a groove doing it, and I can feel like, oh, I'm on today, and today was like one of those days where it's like you do the thing you do, and but you haven't done it in a while, and you're just like, oh wow, I haven't practiced this in a while. So that's what it felt like to me. I don't know what it looked like, but anyway, a Facebook user says hello. What the heck am I looking at here? That is Bill. Hey Bill, how you doing? And Hector gave me a heart. Hector, for some reason you're a Facebook user again. Richard's not. Richard's right here. Hello, Richard. How you doing, buddy? The best thing about being indecisive is you get to change your mind. Yes, you get to change your mind, and you know that is something that luckily I remind myself about. My friend reminds me too. You're allowed to change your mind at any time for any reason. We generally, well, again, I'm me generally lives life thinking like one of my beliefs is that I have to justify what I'm doing to other people. You know, it's like, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? I don't know how to explain that to that neighbor that I saw at the store the other day. It's like, I don't, you know, I'll just like make up weird avatars in my head that I need to explain what I'm up to them. And I think it's because the way that I run my life and my business is so is unexplainable. I don't even know how to explain what I do to people, and I don't like when they ask because I'm usually trying different things, and I don't know, like, well, what's the answer? Am I supposed to tell them the thing that I'm trying today, or do I just have like some stupid general thing like I'm an artist, you know? And it's like nothing really ever fits for me when people ask me that question, and it's kind of that question that people ask. Like they'll ask you like, what are you doing? Or how's work or something like that. You don't run into somebody at the store and they say like, what is your parenting strategy? Nobody asks that. You know what I mean? I got that down. I got that down, and I don't care if you want me to explain it or not. It's like I did it and it's good and they're great. You know? But when it comes to this stuff, I become indecisive at times. Probably because I run full steam ahead with an idea and then hit that wall and then realize I went too fast and I didn't have the whole idea, and I tried to take it further than the intuition was granted to me yet. So I have to step back a little bit and wait for the next piece of inspiration. That was a good point there, Richard. Thanks. Richard also says, hey, well done for fixing the picture comment problem. What was it? I had, Facebook has this thing called professional mode. Apparently I turned it on a while ago, and I was just like, well, I've got that turned on. Let me turn that off. And I turned it off and it worked. So I guess it was that. I don't know why that would make a difference. Professional mode is for like artists and creators, and you could, but I don't really use my profile much for stuff. It gives you like analytics. You can see how people are interacting with your posts. I do everything in the group. So I was like, I don't even need this. So I turned it off. What I need is for people to be able to post pictures. So that was better. Bill, click the link. Thanks, buddy. Nice job. Issues with Ecamm not working. Nah, it's working now. I see you. See, there you are. Thank you for doing that. Ray says, there's a step. Now you realize how important breathing is. I do. Yeah. Breathing and water. I'll get in the flow of this. It'll take 1 or 2 days, and I'll be right in the flow of Daily Fuel. It's like riding a bike. It comes right back to me. But I know that when I've taken a pause from Daily Fuel and I come back to it, that there's always a couple of them that I'm just like, wow, that was terrible. Same with singing. I can remember being like, we'd be doing shows and stuff, and then we might take a break from shows, and then the first show back, it's like, wow, that was really rough, and I feel like that sucked, but it didn't. But I can tell the difference. Bill says, time to put on dancing shoes. I don't know what that means. This is one of those examples, Bill, where I said a thing and you commented on that thing, probably, and by the time I read your comment, I've lost all context for this, so I don't know. Danielle says, I have blockage, so I need to work on the intuitive part. I've started I started a gratitude journal. Maybe it will help guide me. Danielle, thanks for that. That's a really great idea. So what Danielle is doing is she's writing in a gratitude journal to help her understand these blockages. Anything that you can do to be able to write your thoughts down or say them out loud or hear them out loud. I like to talk out loud, because when I hear my thoughts, I realize, well, that's really silly to think that. Like, why would I ever think that? But for some people like Danielle, maybe writing it down is, you can look at it and be like, wow, do I really think that? Like, that's not even true. When we can find these thoughts that we have, and then which are beliefs because we think them all the time, they're just automatic. We don't even realize that we're programmed this way. And we're the programmers. We programmed ourselves. So when you can see it, when you can hear it back, and you can realize, well, that's weird. Maybe it won't hit you as untrue immediately, but it might hit you as something that you wish weren't true. And then you could say, wow, I really wish that if I wanted to do this thing, I could still do that thing. And then ask yourself, well, wait a minute, is that even true? Like, am I unable to do this other thing? Like, why do I even think I can't do this other thing? Who told me that? Like, there's literally nobody here telling me that any of this. I do it to myself, Ow. So anything you can do, any kind of a tactic, writing it down, saying it out loud, talking to somebody. The only thing I would not suggest is just quietly thinking it, because when you're quietly thinking, your ego's got you. Your ego can make you think that you're coming up with all these amazing things, but it's telling you what it wants you to hear, because your ego is trying to protect you. Your ego is trying to keep you safe. And that's why we created these thoughts. Something might have happened in your life. Wow, I was doing this and I switched to that and I couldn't do both and I fell on my face. So now I have this belief that if I want to do this, I can't do that, because that's how I protect myself. And now I'm at this point in my life where I'm just like, I'm a grown up. I can do both. I'm fine. Thank you. Richard says, do you write goals and plans down, or do you just go off incoming ideas and inspiration? I think it helps with the bigger picture. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm kind of in the middle there, Richard. So I don't get an idea and just run. I get an idea and I play with it. I massage the idea for a little while. I don't write in a journal very often. I will sometimes if, for me, writing in a journal or writing things down like that, that's more like a way to get out of a funk. If I'm feeling really down and I want to elevate myself, writing will sometimes help. But when I'm working on an intuitive idea, when I get some intuition, when I get that glimpse I do write. I just don't write it down on paper. I write it on my whiteboards, which are over there. They used to be. I used to face this way, and I used to point over there. Now they're in front of me. They're in the same spot. You can't see them, but I write things down there, and then and I'll play with the ideas for a little while. So that's how I do it. But usually it's not like an idea and then boom, I'm off to the races that same day. Nathan says, honor the ideas that have been given to you. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to play with that word for a minute. I like that word, honor. Honor the ideas. Maybe that's what I'm saying here, Nathan, and you gave me a good word for it. Everything that I described, it's like you get this intuition and you're working on it, but maybe what I'm not doing is honoring the idea. Maybe, and so for me, what would honor mean? You know, I don't it's not like give it an award or praise it or worship it or something like that. I think it's just realize it and reflect on it. Maybe reflect on it a little bit more and give it the space that it deserves to grow and to show itself a little bit more clearly. I like that. Honor the idea. Maybe by acting too quickly, I'm not honoring an idea. That I'm just like if somebody gave me a present, I wouldn't just, a little kid might be like, oh, the present, hey, here's a present. And the little kid's like, grabs it and starts ripping it open, throws the card over there, doesn't even look at the card, right? Just starts opening the, but what would I do as an adult? I would honor the gifter, right? I would be like, oh, thank you very much. And I would take the time to open the card first, and check if there's any money in there, right? And then open the present. And then without, just like reacting to it quickly, again, thank them for their time, and for the present. And an idea is a gift from source, but what do? I just grab it and I run with it, So maybe I need to honor it. Wow, dude, that was a great one. Thanks. You and Richard come up with really good ideas. Writing has helped me organize my mind. Yeah, good. And hey, X says, I don't know who this is. Let's see who it is. This is Deb. Hey, Deb. How you doing? Nice to see you. I don't know why you're a thing. You're a Facebook user again. Sometimes Facebook changes the permissions for groups and things, and then certain people's permissions get wiped, and you got to click the link again. So that's why I always say you only have to click it once, theoretically, because eventually everybody's got to click it again. I ironically, the only person who never has to click it is me. I don't have to click it because I'm not commenting. Okay, well, that looks like it's the last commenter. So, Deb, you get the booby prize unless somebody steals it, which could happen. You never know. But thank you very much for hanging out with me today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm planning to do the daily fuels. I really like doing them. I'd like to do them daily for weekdays, 5 days a week. So we're going to go there. So pretty much weekdays at 5:33, and you can expect that. I'll post in the morning like I always do, and then go live at 5:30. So that's that. All right. Well, Deb, you get the booby prize, and everybody else does not. But you all can have a good night or day or whatever it is by you. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.